I am by far not an Oprah fan. And um, part of the reasons is years and years and years ago when I started watching her show, she always came across as she knew it all without listening to other people's perspectives. Then it seems like she went even more downhill when she was sued by the cattle industry, when she spoke her mind and said she wouldn't eat beef, knowing now what she knows about beef. Um, my question to Oprah is, are you really teaching people how to live your best life if you're threatened to be sued to teach people how to live their best life? I mean, to live their best life, not eating beef, considering how the corporate world manufactures your beef. You can't say that. You have health issues. You've made your whole friggin' career. You've mentioned having an eating disorder, an addiction to food that you can't understand, and nobody's been able to give you that understanding. No psychologist, no medical doctor is telling you, other than they've labeled you with a medical illness that you can take medication to maintain your health issue and not really look at transforming the actual problem that's causing it. Oprah also seems to have an addiction with money, that she's got to have more and more money. So my question is, can you really teach people how to live their best life if you're legally not able to teach that? Even owning your own network, you're still susceptible to lawsuits. You cannot tell people how to heal themselves, because in doing so, you have to shift everything around of what you believe to be true. It appears to me, because there's just so many of these Oprah shows coming on, that she's gone on to reality TV now. She doesn't seem to have any fears in letting us all know her morals and values. And one of the morals and values that she let everybody know on her show is to work with her means you have to sacrifice everything. You basically have to sell your soul to the devil if you want to work with Oprah. If you have children, then you have to sacrifice your relationship with your children. And then you see kids, starting to shoot people. We're seeing so much violence and throwaway kids. How do we throw away our kids? By not giving them our time. Why can't we give them our time? Because our careers, our need for money, our need to be the center of attention, and I'm special through our careers, is taking away mothers from their children. And, she's a billionaire, one of the wealthiest people on the planet, brags about having a staff of 400 that have to work around the clock, high stress, which is not good for the body. No way is her work environment actually healthy for anybody. It's not healthy for their kids. It's not healthy for the individual. And yet she can afford to hire another 400 people. She can afford that. But what is it? Is it in her accounting that says you can't afford to hire twice the staff? What would happen if you hired twice the staff? Would that mean that your current staff can actually spend some time with their kids? Does that mean that that would lower stress and improve health if you hired more staff? Wouldn't that solve the problem we have with unemployment now, that if some of these corporate entities, these billionaires that think they're so smart in creating business, all they're concerned about is profit for themselves, wouldn't it make more sense to hire more people? Yeah, one of the things that gets me really pissed off is these answering machines. You phone somebody, you get a machine. You can't talk to a human being anymore. That's frustrating the hell out of you when you want to solve a problem, but you have to go through a 20-minute choose this, choose that, just to find out that there's no real person that's ever going to handle your call. And it's business wise to pay for a computerized telephone system than it is to give an opportunity to a human being answering the phone and actually solving a problem. We've gone so far down the wrong direction in the name of profit. And I can't see that Oprah is any different. She's gone on to this reality thing where she says we're not going to put anybody down, but yet this competition that she's having for, who's going to have their next talk show is nothing but criticizing. You look at Survivor. It's nothing but cutthroat, gonna stab you in the back to win at all costs, and that's what her reality show is all about, yet she's saying she's never going to put people down. So my question to Oprah is, can you really tell people, can you really teach anybody about good morals, good values, speaking about truth, if you're not legally able to tell the truth because you're so scared of being sued? All of our food is being poisoned. The Gulf oil. Oprah, my question to you is, would you eat seafood coming out of the Gulf? Can we sit there and watch you eat seafood coming out of the Gulf, knowing full well how you feel about the beef industry? Can you speak up for everybody in the Gulf as to what's going on with that industry? It's totally destroyed. Why? Because of BP Oil, another corporation that actually made more money by, their stocks. Most of these CEOs sold their stocks ahead of time, so they profited. Lots of people made a lot of money. A lot of millionaires were created out of creating that Gulf oil. And it was like a planned event. And then you have your best friend Obama giving the crime scene to BP Oil, and then blocked anybody from reporting any news. Don't you think we should know what's going on? They're spraying toxic chemicals over millions of people. That's going to destroy our wildlife. Birds are dying like crazy. Fish is dying like crazy. Don't you think, Oprah, that your president, I'm in Canada, so, and I don't see my government doing anything to fix any problems either, but I mean, don't you think that it's a president's obligation to make sure crime and criminals are being reported and charged and held responsible and accountable? Or do you think that criminals should be running themselves at the cost of killing people? I just don't see how your best friend Obama is actually doing a good job. I see him doing a good job for himself in his own pocketbook. And Oprah, you seem to be all about the money as well now. So that's my question is, Oprah, can you really teach people how to live their best lives? Can you really inspire people to do good if you don't have any morals or values that are good? I mean, if you don't think children are important, what can you teach? If you don't think parental supervision, parenting a child is important over career and profit, what can you possibly teach anybody? That life is about money? That life is about your career? And what does all that get you? Stuff. And most of the stuff is created by slave labor, and we're not even aware of that. But that's why we create third world countries, is so that when they are desperate enough, we can come in there with our corporate world and say, okay, now that you're desperate enough, you'll work for next to nothing. We hold back countries that if they're not going to do things our corporate way, then we're just not going to do business with you until you give in to our demands from the corporate world. It isn't about human rights. It's not about human life. It's not about good morals. It's not about good values. I'm just really questioning, Oprah, can you really teach people anything when your values and morals seem to be so corrupt from my perspective? I could be seeing everything wrong, but I really, really don't see anything good that comes out of the Oprah show. And you have such a huge audience. You could really, really shift the entire planet. You could create a new Earth if you had better books to go through. A New Earth was great, but that book sucked. Even though you think that it was amazing, it provided nothing. It provided no change. And yet a book, for example, that I'm reading, Holodynamics, which there's like 7 books in the total, you can actually learn how to cure diseases, how to solve every problem known to the human experience. I mean, there's better books out there, so Oprah, I'm asking you, how come you're not getting better books to look at that in today's time of problem solving are kind of relevant? Or does that kind of go against what you believe in? You won't be able to have people working as long hours if you actually told them that this isn't healthy for you. Would you actually have to hire another 400 people and, lose a little bit of money out of your paycheck every month simply because you care about your staff? Can you stop giving out stuff and maybe letting people know how stuff is made? Where does it come from? How do we sustain our communities when we take away all our jobs and get it all made in third world countries? Now we have no jobs to be able to buy any stuff unless we go on the Oprah show and get it all free. Just seems like that's where we're headed at, is we should make Oprah our new god, because Oprah's the only way to get stuff. As long as she's giving away stuff, she's going to be the new god, and everybody will worship Oprah because she gives free stuff. 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 Not morals, not values, just free stuff. That's only advertisement, so everybody else will be manipulated into buying the stuff she gives away. It just is like insanity to me. Is it just me, or does other people see this? I'd love to hear your opinion. I'd love the answer to that question. Oprah. Peace out.